He didn't need coffee. His eyes were wide open, his mind sharp like a blade. He could feel something was off. The silence was too perfect. The smiles in his meetings were too forced. That's when a small envelope arrived. No name, no stamp, just 4 words written in rushed handwriting. Be careful. It's inside. Traoré opened it and found a piece of paper with a list of names, all from the military. Some he trusted, some were even part of his inner team. But what was this? The next morning, he called Captain Naba Zongo, the same young officer who helped uncover the spy months ago. Zongo, he said, I need you again. Quietly. No one must know, not even the generals. Zongo saluted. Yes, Mr. President Traoré handed him the list. These names, follow them. Don't question, just observe. We're walking into something big. Zongo nodded. And if I find something? Don't report by phone. Come to me directly. This is not just politics. This is war. That night, Zongo disappeared into the shadows. He changed his clothes, used a false name, and moved like a ghost. He didn't trust anyone, not even fellow officers. He started watching one name from the list. Colonel Dabiré, commander of the 3rd Infantry. Dabiré was a respected man, brave, smart. But something wasn't right. Zongo followed him to a quiet compound on the edge of the city. No guards, no official vehicles. Just 4 men in military clothes, meeting behind closed doors. He took photos from the roof. He recorded parts of their conversation through a crack in the window. He couldn't believe what he heard. The president moves too fast. He cut the foreign deals. Now the funding is low. If we don't act soon, we lose everything. Another voice replied, Then we move before the independence celebration. Strike once, no mistakes. We remove him. The country stabilizes. Foreign support comes back. Zongo's heart dropped. They were planning a coup. Captain Naba Zongo didn't waste a second. He returned to the palace before sunrise, walking past guards who didn't know the storm he was carrying in his bag. The photos, the recordings, and the names of men ready to bring down the country from the inside. President Ibrahim Traoré was already awake, standing on the balcony, watching the dark sky turn gray. Zongo saluted, handed him the files, and said quietly, It's real, sir. They're planning to remove you before the independence celebration. They've already picked a replacement. Traoré didn't flinch. He opened the file slowly, studied each face, and listened to the recorded voices like a hunter studying his prey. Then he said, We don't panic. We prepare. He called a secret meeting, not in the palace, but in an abandoned command post outside the city. Only 5 people were invited. No phones, no communication, not even his own guards knew where he was going. Inside that dusty old room, he laid out the evidence on a wooden table. These men are not just rebels, he said. They are trained officers. Some of them fought beside me, some I shared meals with. And now, they are planning to stab the country in the back. One general shook his head. We can arrest them now. No, Traoré replied. If we move too early, we catch the foot soldiers. But the mind behind this? He will run. Zongo leaned forward. You think there's someone higher? I know there is, Traoré said. Colonel Dabiré is not smart enough to plan this alone. Someone else is pulling the strings. They all went quiet. Traoré's eyes narrowed. We let them go ahead, just far enough. Then we strike. For the next 5 days, the president lived a double life. In public, he gave speeches, shook hands, and smiled for the cameras. But behind the scenes, he was moving his loyal forces, checking weapons and locking down key places, the airport, the national radio station, the barracks. Zongo infiltrated deeper. He followed the coup plotters as they met foreign-looking men late at night. He watched money being exchanged, big amounts. He heard one of them say, Once the president is gone, France will return. Everything will go back to normal. Zongo almost burst in that night, but he remembered the president's order. Not yet. On the 6th day, Traoré got the message he had been waiting for. The coup leaders planned to make their move on Sunday night, just before the flag-raising ceremony. They would strike during a fake training drill. One of the generals had already moved loyal troops to surround the palace. And the one behind it all? His name appeared in Zongo's final report. Someone no one expected. Someone right next to the president. The name in Zongo's final report hit like thunder. General Yakuba Seré. one of the most respected officers in the country, a man the public admired, a man who stood beside President Traoré during speeches, military parades, and national events. Traoré sat alone in his office, holding the file in both hands. His jaw was tight. His eyes didn't blink. Of all people, Serré? They had shared a tent in battle, eaten from the same pot in the bush, fought side by side during the uprising. When Traoré rose to power, it was Serré who stood by him on the balcony, raising his fist to the crowd. Now he was the one trying to tear it all down. The betrayal burned deep. Captain Zongo stood silently nearby, waiting. He could see the weight in the president's eyes. But Traoré didn't break. He didn't speak with emotion. He stood up and said, "Prepare for Operation Storm Night." That evening, inside the underground war room, the trusted team gathered. A full map of Ouagadougou was spread on the table. Lights marked key spots: the palace, military base, radio tower, airport, and the secret house where the coup leaders would meet. Traoré looked at each face in the room. His voice was calm but sharp. "We let them believe they've already won. Tomorrow night, they will move, but we'll be waiting. No escape, no warning. This must be clean and quiet. Burkina Faso must wake up in peace." Zongo pointed to a small square near the outskirts. "General Serré will be here, with Colonel Dabaré and the others. If we capture him, we end the plan at its head." The team nodded. Traoré added one more order. "Capture, do not kill. I want the people to see with their own eyes who betrayed them." The night before the coup, Traoré slept only 1 hour. He wore plain clothes and drove himself to the command point. No one recognized him in the dark. No sirens, no guards, just him and the truth. At 11:47 p.m., the fake training drill began. Soldiers loyal to Serré moved toward the palace, but they were met with confusion. All the gates were already under tight control. Guards who were supposed to be part of the coup were quietly replaced the day before. At 12:08 a.m., the coup leaders arrived at their secret meeting point and walked into a trap. Zongo led the unit. "Down! On your knees! Drop your weapons!" Dabire reached for his gun, but was tackled to the ground. Serré raised his hands slowly, his face pale. He had no fight left. "You?" he said, looking at Zongo. "You were the shadow." "No," Zongo replied. "I was the mirror. You betrayed yourself." By dawn, the streets of Ouagadougou were calm. The sun rose like any other day. Shops opened. Children walked to school. Radios played soft music. But behind the scenes, the country had escaped disaster. In a single night, President Ibrahim Traoré had stopped a full-blown military coup. Not with loud force, but with quiet precision. The coup leaders were taken to a secure location, far from the city. No public noise, no media alerts. The people didn't even know what had happened. Not yet, but Traoré knew he couldn't keep it hidden for long. At 7:30 a.m., he walked into the press room at the Koshiam Palace, dressed in his army uniform. No suit, no ceremony. His face was calm, but serious. Cameras flashed. Journalists sat up straighter. He spoke slowly. "Last night, your country was almost taken from you," he began. "A small group of men, trained, armed, and dressed like patriots, tried to undo everything we've built." The room went silent. "They didn't come from outside," he said. "They came from within, from our own ranks, from people who smiled at us during the day, but plotted our downfall at night." He paused, but they forgot one thing. Burkina Faso is not for sale, not to old powers, not to money, not to fear. A few reporters had tears in their eyes. Some were frozen in shock. Those behind this plot have been arrested. They will face justice, not because we seek revenge, but because we must protect truth. We must protect the people. Outside, the crowd was growing. People had begun to hear. Whispers turned into questions. Questions turned into anger. Then came cheers. Traoré ended his speech with one powerful line. "You cannot kill a tree that has roots in the people. I serve the people. I stand with the people. And I will fall with the people. But I will never fall for the enemy." That day, across social media, images of the president standing firm went viral. No one expected such calm leadership. No one expected the president to be 10 steps ahead. In the afternoon, he visited the army headquarters and spoke to the loyal soldiers. "You held the line," he told them. "You didn't join the darkness. And because of that, the light still shines." He gave each of them a small pin, the symbol of the revolution, a black star on red. "These men tried to use your uniforms to betray your country, but today your uniform stands for courage." Meanwhile, the people had just one question on their lips. How did he know? The answer was even more shocking. While the country celebrated and foreign news began to report what had happened in Ouagadougou, only a few people knew the full truth behind how the plot was stopped in time. It wasn't just the list in the envelope. It wasn't just Captain Zongo's brilliant fieldwork. There was someone else, someone deep inside the shadows, a man no one had seen, a man even the coup plotters trusted. He was the final piece of the puzzle. President Traoré sat in a private room with Zongo, going over the files one last time. There was one name Zongo had left out of the reports, one name he gave directly to the president in a sealed file. "He was one of them," Zongo said. "But he came to me." Traoré raised an eyebrow. "You mean he switched sides?" Zongo nodded. "He was promised a new life in Europe. They said they would give him a house, a salary, everything, if the coup worked. But he couldn't do it. He said, 'I believe in Traoré more than I believe in Paris.'" Traoré didn't smile. He just leaned forward and opened the file. Sergeant Karim Sawadogo, an ordinary soldier in the 3rd Infantry. No rank, no medals, but he had been in every meeting, heard every plan. He kept notes, recorded voices.
"This is the life of a hero. Ibrahim Traoré, the hero of Africa. We salute you, sir. All hail Ibrahim Traoré, Bukina.